Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Follow Your Passion. Let me introduce my guest of today. Her name is Asmita Jason. Asmita is the founder of Launch Boosters, helping clients launching courses online with done-for-you services and masterminds. However, she started out as a mechanical engineer with a master's in business analytics and 2 years of experience in operations. She has also been a purchase coordinator and a relationship manager, and now she has been running her own business for over 4 years and counting. Asmita has a sweet spot for helping other mums succeed and reach a consistent 5-figure months. So, welcome, Asmita. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for the warm welcome and the intro.
Yeah. So, Asmita, tell me about this journey you've been on, because you started out as a mechanical engineer. How did you become this launch boosters expert?
So while doing engineering, like after mechanical engineering, I worked into operations. So that was the hard phase of life when you manage projects and all, but at the same time exciting. And since childhood, I always wanted to have something of my own, but what of my own was not fixed. So there was a desire, I want to have something of my own. I want to help people. And as I went exploring digital marketing, I had a hobby business. So for which I started exploring digital marketing, and I realized many women needed help with digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started helping out these women into digital marketing. That was way back in 2018. So at the same time, learning about it, helping people. So I started as a freelancer. And over the period, then I was like, okay, it's no more to be a freelancer now. I need to have my own social media marketing agency. So that moved on to a social media marketing agency where I was supporting online female entrepreneurs with all the marketing needs, especially with Facebook and Instagram. Then as I went on working with these women, I realized major struggles were with moms when they wanted to come into coaching, and a lot of things go behind a launch. So that overwhelmed, that burnt out. And my major clients were from this sector. So I thought, okay, this is the good sector and this is the good market that I need to help people with. And then I refined into those services. And that is how the launch boosters evolved, right from being into corporate to freelancing to social media agency and a launch agency right now.
Nice. And when I'm correct, then you even pivoted your business even more a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So one thing here is when I had started, right, I was as a freelancer and I was serving anyone. So I was burnt out. So that was the case in 2020 when I really wanted to give up on business because there were so many things happening and I was working literally 16 to 20 hours a day, which was not the reason I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to help people to create a life of freedom, but I was not having that. So it didn't make any sense. Like you are not enjoying freedom and you say that you're going to help others to have that freedom. So that was a time, of great evaluation into my business, going back, see what's going wrong. And then I started refining my services, refining my niche, whom I want to work with. And that is, I could say, entire new journey started. Okay, whom I want to work with. This is the specific audience I want to work with. This is the outcome I want to give them. This is the transformation. And that's how right now, if you see, my business is very less work, but creating a lot more impact than what it was before.
Nice. And how did you come up with this special niche of helping moms? Because a lot of female entrepreneurs, but why the focus on moms? And you say other moms, so you're a mom yourself, right?
Yeah. So the one thing here, like in 2020, as I said, I was pregnant. Like my agency was doing really great. And at the same time in 2021, when I was pregnant, I was expecting my son. It was very hard for me. Like I had a team, but at the same time, my team required me to review each and everything. So business was dependent on me. And that is the time I realized, oh, it is like how much moms may have with difficulty. I had to shut down my business for a few months because I couldn't do it. And then it was just in pregnancy. And when I was thinking, okay, what will happen after my baby comes up? I'm going to have much lesser time. So that is the time when I started exploring about other moms, talking to other moms, and I realized everyone was going through the same phase. Many of them had stopped their career or paused their business with the expectation that someday they will come back, and that someday had never come back. Couple of women, like couple of moms whom I spoke with, they had the kids maybe 5 years, 6 years, but still they were like, we're just trying to find that time. We're just trying to do this. This is becoming hard for us. And I had those pain points because I had started my journey as a mother, which was a huge transition, a complete free life to a mother's life, and you go through the same thing. I said, okay, this is it. I want to help mothers, because if I needed that help, mothers are there, they need my help right now, and I'm in a position to help them. So why not niche down only to mothers and help them, achieve whatever freedom they want, and especially not give up on their dreams, because that is the
Nice.
phase when most of them give up on their dreams.
Yeah, I had a discussion with a lot of female entrepreneurs as well, that when you're a mom, everything goes to second place because you put your child, your child at first place, and it's hard to,
Yeah.
if you started your dream and you become a mother, then to put a dream on a sidetrack, right? And that's
Yeah.
so it's beautiful that you help the other women, to combine staying true to your dream and being a mother at the same time.
Yeah, this is exactly I want to help mothers with. I don't want them to sidetrack, because we get this life only once. We live it only once. And if we have to put our dreams aside, I know that motherhood is a very nice journey. Like, it's a blessed journey. But at the same time, we shouldn't compromise on our dreams that we have for our life.
Nice. And how does it, what's your experience? Because you're now a mother for 2 years, so you have a 2-year-old son. How does it combine your business and your motherhood?
So right now, with the lifestyle and with the business I'm creating, I get a lot of time with my son. So that is what I try, like the programs I have, or the launches I have, or the client calls I have, I try to map out in a way that I work only like 4 to 5 hours a day, so that I have a lot of time with my son. So that's how I'm going on. And most of the things I try to involve my son along with it. Like, if it's calls where I'm not required on videos, or if it's some shooting or some posts, I try to involve him, or he is playing aside, like besides me, and I work on my thing. But there are times like those 3 to 4 hours a day where I keep him away from me and I focus on my business. But if you ask me about the journey, it's really going good. Initial days were like, when you are that mother and you feel, no, I cannot keep my child like away from me, not even from 1 hour. So I was kind of that, and like 16 minutes go up, and then I used to go to my son. But now it's not like that. As the journey has evolved, I'm like, okay, business is at one place, family is at one place. Family does take the first priority, but business is not getting sidetracked, or is not getting going behind. It has its own time slot. It has its own, I could say, own space in my world right now.
Nice, nice. And as I heard you say also that, and I think that's important for other business owners as well. If you start your business, it's one of my coaches said that you need to have an exit plan, meaning, not that you're going to start the business only to sell it someday, but you want the business to run without you being there, right? That's the ideal situation, because then you can focus on the things that matter to you. You can, if in your case, for instance, you can spend more time with your son and your family, or you can explore new markets, or you can pick the cherries, which clients you definitely want to work with, or you can create partnerships with other companies that can strengthen each other. So ideally you make yourself redundant, right? And I think that was one of the roadblocks you run into, that the company became dependent on you. And when you had your pregnancies, well, the business was almost down, so to speak, because you couldn't edit or check and manage things. So with that experience that you pivoted your business, you made some adjustments. What have you learned from that, and how are you applying it in your current business?
So one most important thing I learned was, I had like the thought that I have to do everything. So like I have to wear all the hats. So whatever came across me, maybe it was applying for a podcast interview or making a Facebook post, I was like, I have to do it. It's my business. I have given up that thought. I have taken, like, I have learned a lesson. I have to prioritize tasks where I am required. Rest all tasks are delegated to my team, or I just outsource them. So now, when I was new, I didn't have a team. I used to just outsource it. It's okay to pay some part of money to people who are expert in that, rather than, like, trying to wear all the hats, buying courses and figuring out. So this was me, like 1 year ago, I was like that, oh, why should I pay someone? Instead, I could get this course, learn it and do it. But that takes you to burnt out. So
Yeah.
right now it's like, no, this is not my expertise. I'm just going to outsource this. This is not my expertise. I'm going to outsource this. Or this is what my team can take it. So I have pivoted it so much that my team needs me hardly 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. That's for the review. It's like, I don't sit with them, but it's for the review. But it's obviously not like before, every step there was in review, everything, every minute thing they do, I had to review it. Now it's not like that. It's just the final outcome, just 5 minutes review, and they are good to go on their own. So that
Perfect.
was biggest learning for me, to remove me from my business operations and have that free time to work on my business and expand. And that is how I'm able to scale now. Otherwise, I couldn't have been able to scale.
Yeah, exactly. And that you've put it very beautifully indeed. So, especially at the beginning, you want to do everything yourself because spending money doesn't seem right at that moment. But that's still, I would call it an employee mindset, right? And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to make different decisions, because your time is money as well. And sometimes I give the example that they say you have to write blogs, right, for your website. And some people aren't great at writing blogs. It takes them 5 to 6 hours to write a blog, because they write something, they review it, they're not happy with it, so they rearrange it, and it can take up to 5-6 hours before they produce a blog. But they think, if it doesn't make sense to outsource this to somebody, to write something that you can do yourself. But if you outsource it to somebody, and let's say that person can write 4 blogs, right, for $400, right? I think, well, that's $400 I can keep in my pocket. But if you're already taking 6 hours to write 1 blog, then 4 blogs will take you at least 20 hours. And if you multiply that with your hourly rate, you're much more expensive than those $400 you're using to outsource it. And probably the quality you'll be getting is better because that person is an expert in it.
Yeah, this is exactly what I realized, like, especially in terms of all this Facebook Live and the group lives I do. I was like, I have to design my own banner. I have to, go and talk to these people. I have to do this. But the outcome, I could only do like 2 live sessions a month. But now when my team does everything, I just have to present on that live session, which is my expertise, and rest is their expertise, or I outsource. I'm able to, like, scale it to 5 times or 10 times. I could even say 10 times than what I was doing before. So I was never calculating that my time had a money, because it was my business. I was like, no, I'm saving money. So that fact was in my mind. I'm saving. If someone gave me a quote of $500, okay, if I do this task, I save $500. So I was of that mindset. And I used to literally even calculate how much amount I saved that month. Okay, that quotation came, I saved $500. This quotation came, I saved $500. But at the end of the month, by this calculation, I used to save maybe $1,500, but I used to waste around $4,000 to $5,000, which I could have generated revenue. And this calculation and this comparison, I was like, oh, I'm saving money, but at the same time, it's like I'm just losing my entire business to save this amount.
Exactly. You forget that the time you're spending on tasks you're not good at are wasted against the time you can spend helping your clients and being paid for that. And that's the difference. Yeah. Nice. So, could you share a fun story of a client you helped that still comes to mind, that it might be a perfect client, or maybe that you you made a mistake and you learned from it, or?
So one thing here, like when you say fun client, I had a client who had signed up with me for mentorship. She wanted to grow her Instagram. And that time was the time when it didn't have a qualifying process. So she signed up. She was a very good as a human being and even as a client, but she signed up and everything, calls were on Zoom. And then she's like, I don't know how to use laptop. I was like, oh, you have paid me for these classes and you're telling me that you don't know how to use laptop and how can I train you for that? Then she's like, okay, if you could manage something on a phone call. Then the next thing was, I don't know how to use email. I don't know how I could get these links. Like, oh, fine, I have to go back 2 months and train you everything. But I took it as a challenge. Like I didn't want it to disappoint her because she was very good as a person. And that was the time when I didn't have set boundaries in my business. That is why there was no qualifying process. So I had to spend almost 2 months to get her technologically literate, like how to use laptop, how you could use these online calls, how you could use Google Calendar, how you could use this. And I was training her like this. No, do you see something in the right side? Do you see that X mark? Okay, if you close that, it's gonna close. Do you see this plus mark? If you click that, it's gonna open a new tab. So literally those calls, now I can laugh at those, but they were kind of big, I could say a pain point for me. I had to literally go through this, like every simple thing. I couldn't say that open new tab because she didn't know that. I had to say, can you see up? If you scroll there, you see something as plus, click that plus, that new tab is gonna come. And every day I had to repeat the same thing. So that was the moment which was a very hard client for me to work with initial few months. But later on, this client continued with me for almost 2 years. And
Nice.
she became a tech pro. And now, even though we are not working together, but whenever she messages me or she calls me, she has become a complete technology pro. And she's like, Asmita, it is you who has taught me all the technology. And she is using all this Clubhouse and this and that, all the recent softwares tools. Like, in fact, she had got a MacBook and she's like, I figured out everything on my own, like from the Dell laptop to MacBook, I figured out everything on my own. So that was a good client relation, but definitely not a good client to have if you want to scale kind of thing. But it was a good relation. And
Yeah.
I always remember, I'll always remember it. No matter where I go in my business journey, I will always remember this client. Like 2-3 learnings here, not to follow the qualifying process or maybe sign unaligned clients and just have that, because that literally led me to burnout. Like, oh, I was literally getting fed up to go on the calls, but I couldn't show that on calls. I had to be good. So that was a
Nice.
different case of journey.
Yeah, and I can imagine that you learned a lot from that. And
Yeah.
what I always say, that the reason why you need a coach or a mentor is you don't see your own blind spots, right?
Yeah.
And what you just shared, some things we take for granted are so obvious that we assume the other person knows it, and that's not always the case. Just like you said, she wanted you to help her. It's my expertise, no problem at all. And the first thing you heard, but how do I use a laptop? How do I open it? How do I start it? And so I can imagine the shock you were in when you heard it for the first time. But at least you took up the challenge, and that's beautiful. And you learn a lot from it, because explaining something to somebody else makes you learn it twice. So,
yeah.
and that's wonderful. But it also make me curious that how come she asked you to help her grow her Instagram if she wasn't familiar with software and laptops and stuff like that?
So she's a makeup artist, a renowned makeup artist here. But before COVID, they had everything physical. So she used to just give ads to the online portals and things were working out. But especially during COVID time, when everything was shut down, she had to come online. And that is the time she realized she come online. She created an Instagram account. And actually she hired first social media marketer. That person, misguided her and made her buy bot followers. So she landed up purchasing 25K bot followers, and everything was stuck there. And she was like really looking out for a trustworthy person who could help her. And someone recommended her my name because I was active on Instagram. And because she approached me on Instagram, I thought that she may be technology, sound, and everything. And she already has an account with 25K followers.
Yeah.
So I just assumed it. But when we started connecting and everything went on, I realized, okay, they were bot followers. Someone had misguided her. Everything was messed up in her journey. So things started revealing as we went on closely, like working together.
And now you got a selection process.
Yeah, now I have a selection process. So whenever someone applies, I first go through their social profiles. I see what they do, like how they are doing, what's their business about, whether I can really help them. Because many times what I have realized, when we say that I'm a business freedom coach or I'm a business coach, many moms approach and they are like, I really want something to earn money. And I'm like, okay, this is not a get rich quick something. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It is your business. You should have some expertise. You should have some experience. You cannot just come someday and say that I want to start a business. I cannot help you in such cases. It's your expertise. Maybe it's what education you have taken or maybe what work you have done. It's okay if there's gap in between 5 years, 10 years gap, but at least you have this expertise. So this is where, I have that qualification process in place. So I don't land up with these people. So when I literally had those free strategy calls, 60% of these women used to be like this, like I want to earn money somehow. I'm like, I'm not going to help you to get a part-time job or maybe this. You can check out those portals, but I'm here to help you build your business, to expand your business online. If you don't have a skill, if you don't have a business idea, how can I help you with this? I can help you refine a business, but you should have your business, you should have your skills. And that is how, the whole qualification process had a lots of, I could say, maybe a complete upside down turn, and it has come out very nice right now.
Nice. Nice. So if you see yourself in the future, let's say 5 years from now, right? How would you like your business to be evolved at that moment?
So 5 years from now, first thing I would like to have is I have impacted many moms. So that's my desire. I really want to help moms to achieve the freedom that I have. And in my life, in my past 4 years journey in my business, I have gone through a lot. And I didn't have mentors. That was one of the biggest mistake I had done. So I really want to help them save those 4 years. And maybe after 5 years, I want to see a lot of moms who are impacted by me and enjoying the life of freedom and having their 100K years with me. At the same time, I would like to see me at 100K months as we have everything financially. But moreover, I want my business to give me more freedom. It's like I work 1-2 hours a day, but those are quality hours of work and I am impacting more and more lives.
Nice. Nice. And are you also thinking growing a business? Because currently you're saying, you want to help your clients to achieve consistent 5-figure months.
Yeah.
So any ambition to make that into a 6-figure months?
Yeah, that's on my list. But I'm like, okay, because now the clients I'm getting is they are still struggling to get their first 5K or first 10K. That is why I want to help them to get those first 5K and 10K mark, especially, and have this consistent 5-figure months. And in 5 years down the line, it would definitely be multi 6 figures months.
Perfect. Perfect. And the clients you're helping right now to get those consistent 5-figure months, they might be your next clients when you're going to level up your own business.
Yeah.
And you lead by example because you are a mom, you how to deal with business and taking care of your son and giving him all the attention he needs. So I think you're doing a wonderful job on that.
Thank you.
So how does this, the reason I'm asking, I'm an electrical engineer by education as well. I studied on university. So you're a mechanical engineer by education. How does this help you in your coaching business and your marketing business?
So as a mechanical engineer, especially when you see the curriculum and all, people may seem, okay, mechanical is all related to automotives or vehicles, but actually it is not. We learn a lot about operations, how to simplify tasks. There are a lot of calculations that go behind it and all. And having specialty into operations, even during my engineering, and working into all those project operations, I got an expertise on simplifying things. Like when people say that I have to create a social media post, I'm like, okay, this is not a task. Task goes like, okay, there's an idea, then you make a rough layout, then you write a copy, then you design the final, then you get the hashtag. So that simplicity is what I have learned through my engineering and through the job I have done. Like break down every single task that you don't feel it is a huge task. So this is what happens even with my clients when I work today. They come up with something that I really have to build this landing page. And every day they have the same thing. I have to build this landing page. I have to build this landing page. I'm like, don't take that, because building a landing page may be 5 hours work. Just go simple. I have to get idea of the landing page. I have to get copy of the landing page. I have to do the layout of the landing page, and then go on taking of these tasks. And then you see that your landing page comes out, because every day you just have to take that one task rather than the whole bundle. So this is something mechanical engineering actually taught me, to simplify action items so that there's no overwhelm at the end.
Nice. And especially that overwhelm is very, very important word, because if you have a task list, you can have something like, I need to update my website. And that single task, right, that can be on it for eternally, because your website is never done. The moment you're already updated, it's already old. So you have to keep working on it. And as you said, simplifying the task in making it bite-sized pieces, or which you can execute in, let's say, 30 minutes or 1 hour tops, right? That makes it easier to digest, if you want to call it that way, and you can stripe it off your list, and that feels good. And when you got all the tasks done, suddenly the whole project is done. And that's indeed how you it's the same question as how do you eat an elephant, right? Just little bites at a time.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. So this is what I keep telling my clients. Don't think the end task, break it down. It's going to help you. And that definitely saves from getting burnt out also, because we take the whole task, we spend the entire day behind it, nothing gets done. But rather, if it is broken down into small tasks, okay, this is the only thing I have to do. So you don't, like end up spending a lot of time, you do it, then tomorrow you can do the next part.
Yeah. Perfect example. And it's funny because, the moment you start your entrepreneurship, you start building a different environment around yourself. You're meeting different people, they're fellow entrepreneurs, you talk to them. And the funny thing that when I started my business 7 years ago, and I once gave a presentation of my previous life, when I was still in corporate world and what I did. And people were looking amazed that, oh, did you do this, and did you did, are you master in science and electrical engineering, and all those things that we never thought about, that you had this background. And but it helps me to run my business as well. It's not that I'm doing things with electronic stuff, but it's the whole mindset. It's how you decompose problems into simple challenges, solve them so that the overall solution, the overall problem gets solved. It's a helicopter view. It's all those things. It's a way of thinking and learning that I'm still applying to date, even though I finished my study, well, I'm not lying, 26 years ago. So don't, somehow there's this stereotype of an engineer, and you don't fit in that stereotype. So you think, what, you're an engineer, right? It doesn't make sense to them. while if you look at how you apply the learnings, it totally makes sense. Just like you shared, don't be overwhelmed by the task at hand. Just simplify tasks until you can manage it. And that's key.
Yeah. One thing here, when you said about the past experience, right? So most of the people, when they get to know my past, as in the first year, after engineering, I didn't take a corporate job because that wasn't my dream. I didn't want it to go into a big MNC and work out there, but I wanted to, impact people. That was my dream always. So I had taken a rural internship, and I had literally gone to a remote village, which was a 50 acres campus, and I was staying alone there. I was assisting a very renowned scientist here in India. So that year I was assisting him on research projects. When people get to know this, you had such a great opportunity. You were assisting someone who has so many awards on his name. We can only see his name on Wikipedia, and you were literally working with him very closely. And why did you give that up? Why did you do engineering if you had to give that up and do something? I'm like, okay, you're not going to understand what it has helped me. So working with the scientist has definitely helped me a lot. I have taken his lifestyle, the way he saw things, the way he utilized his skills. And obviously when he was working on research projects, he maybe was not utilizing his mechanical skills, but he was trying to help rural people to better their life at. And this is something, no matter where you go, what you learn impacts your journey some or the other way. And there are a lot of those learnings which are taken. I could say they are more important than any professional education will help you, like the experience of it. So even though it was mechanical engineering, the experience of those 4 years was worth more than that mechanical engineering certificate, I could say.
Yeah, I can totally imagine how that worked, and it's beautiful. How does it feel that you, as a little girl, you had this dream of doing something for yourself and making an impact, and currently you're actually living your dream? How does it feel? How does it make you feel if you think about it?
So firstly, if you say that, how does it feel? I always felt it was impossible, because being from a rural village, like I'm born and brought up in a rural village where I didn't even have access to internet till 10th standard. So they may be internet, but we don't know, we don't have phone and all. So I had no idea what to do next. And when I went to engineering, that was the time when I got, okay, there is something as internet, there is something as Instagram, there is something as Facebook. So that when I became like 18 years old, I got to know all these things. But my desire to have something of my own was right from childhood. And I never knew. So when I was talking to my friends, they already had so many followers on Instagram. They were so tech friendly. They were so much into this. And I was like, I don't know anything of it. And the life that I wanted, I was like, it seemed impossible. And especially when those like placements come, and when you have to take up a job, and I had got a placement, but I didn't wanted it because I wanted something of my own. So that was kind of a foolish decision, like anyone would say, like, why do you want to give up that? I was like, no, I want to explore life outside from, like just to going to a stereotypes job. I want to explore life. And I did do that. I changed 9 jobs. So that's part of my journey, just exploring here and there with the startups. But definitely, like those days, if you ask me, those days back in 2014, this life seemed completely impossible. I didn't even know, like I had no idea how to use Instagram. And today I'm training people how to sell on Instagram. And my first sale way back in 2018, 2020, I would say, first client. So it was an interaction, like a coffee chat. And I was talking on some topic. And right after the chat, people messaged me, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. I had not expected that. I didn't know that people would be interested in working with me. And when they asked me what are the charges, I had no number in mind. I was like, okay, $100, because $100 is a huge amount here in India. And they were like, okay, fine. And they send the money. And I was like, oh, they are paying me so much. So that things, and the way now I realized that $100 was way too less for what I served them. So the life I'm living now was a dream life for me. And I always thought it was impossible, but I know that I have achieved it. And there's a lot more that I'm expecting now. Those are my desires, and I'm very sure that I'm going to achieve those. So even though it may feel impossible right now, so whenever I feel that it's impossible, I always look back at my journey. This life also was impossible for me at one time, but I'm living it. I'm enjoying it today. So
Nice.
my future life is also possible for me.
Wonderful. And it shows that if you have this dream and this belief that as long as you persevere, right, you will achieve what you want. And you're the perfect example of that. And it's beautiful to hear that and to see that as well. And it's what you said, you're something that seems to be the farthest away from you might become your biggest strength, right?
Yeah.
I had the same with, I thought I couldn't sell, right? That was one of my weaknesses. And I have my own advanced sales masterclass now where I teach other people how it works. Hypnotherapy was one of the things I could have never imagined doing. And now it's one of my biggest strengths, that to help transform my clients. So don't give up on that. If you have this dream, you just feel from the inside that you have to pursue it, go for it, because at the end you will succeed.
Yeah. So here I would just like some stats, not the industry standard stats or something, but when I started my journey way back in 2018, when I was struggling to figure out, there were a lot of my friends who started with me. And if you see today, I am here and they are like, we really want to start something again. So over the 4 years, they lost the track somewhere. They just went back and they have nothing right now. So this perseverance is very, very important. If you want to achieve something, you have to go with it. You can't give up, no matter what's there in between. It's always, your next level is very close than what you think about.
Yeah, it reminds me of those pictures you see on social media as well, of those treasure hunters that are just growing, and at a certain point they're returning because they're not finding anything. And there's just a small line between them and this great treasure, this treasure that's behind this wall, that they just had to only hit it once with their axe and they would have gotten there. And it's this image that helps you, to persevere, because you never know. Success can be around the corner. You just have to take the turn.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I believe in. And whenever I feel kind of demotivated, so I just go up to my mentors and I see their past and their present. I'm like, okay, they have done it. I can definitely do it.
Yeah, perfect. Asmita, we can talk for hours on those subjects, I guess, and helping others. It's such a great feeling. If you could share just one more tip or little piece of wisdom with the audience, what would that be?
So one most important thing that I have learned from my mistakes and from my journey is always seek from support from your mentors. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Don't just try to wear all the hats. Seek support wherever it's required. And it is a must if you want to follow your passion. And never give up on following your passion with taking this support.
Perfect. And I'm not sure how it is in India, but at least in the Netherlands, I know sometimes it seems like people are ashamed of asking for help, asking for guidance, asking for testimonial or whatever. While if you don't ask, you'll never get it. So it's better to ask, because I always say there are no such things as stupid questions. There are enough stupid answers, but the only stupid question that exists is the one you didn't ask. Yeah. So that's something that we almost have to learn again, to start asking for things. And it's just what you said, ask for support, because the wheel has already been invented. So why try to invent it another time, right?
Yeah. So here in India also is the same case. People don't ask for support. They feel that they will be, considered as inferior if they're asking for support. I was of the same thoughts, but now I know, no, you can ask every stupid question. You may feel it is stupid, but your mentors know that it is the right question because they have gone through the same things.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So if people want to know more about you or want to get in touch with you, Asmita, how can they do that?
So the best thing to reach me is my Instagram. So my name is Asmita Jason on Instagram. I'm very active on my Instagram. And I'm active on Facebook as well. It's the same profile name there. On LinkedIn also. It's the same name on all the socials, but Instagram is the best way to reach out to me, and because I check it every often. And other than that, it could be my website. It's asmitajason.com. So you'll find all the resources, freebies, the masterclasses, everything at one place.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Asmita, I had a great time. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey as well. It's wonderful to see how you've grown. And I would say, let's keep up the good work and let's stay in touch.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot for having me here. It was really a great time to be with you, go back on my journey and see that visualization effect right now. Thanks a lot. And I'll definitely be in touch and we'll continue this journey ahead together.